What would you say is the most damaging thing feminism has done to our society? Men's rights? The decline of the quality of universities? Well, for me, it's comedy. Feminism has killed comedy stone dead and then smeared itself in its blood. A few visual elements of the video I'm reviewing have been altered, but none of the audio content. I'm just experimenting with a few things. So, grab yourself a stiff drink and let's dive into this one together.
I did an interview with a Danish journalist, and he knew nothing about feminism, which is quite normal because in Denmark we're quite far behind.
I find it extremely unlikely that a journalist has never once in his life heard of feminism. I mean, how often do rabid feminists ramble on about it? I'd say they were even worse than vegans when it comes to being the sole trait of their personalities. Oh, and on a side note, Denmark isn't far behind, as she puts it. It's actually listed in the top 5 countries for equality in the world. The link for that is down below.
His first question to me in this interview was, what is feminism? And I completely panicked, I didn't know how to explain it.
I think that's a fair question to ask if you're talking about feminism. Define it in your own words. The fact that you panicked to answer shows that you don't know. You're a feminist because it's trendy, and God knows you need some kind of vice to remain relevant. Your comedy is terrible, and frankly, you couldn't pull a rotten tooth out of a dead horse's head with your looks. If you lose feminism, you'll be more of a nothing than you are right now, which is why you're immediately so defensive of the concept.
And I completely panicked, I didn't know how to explain it, so I just started saying, some of the most basic things. I was like, so men are not allowed to shout at women in the street.
Was that an attempt at a joke? It's hard to tell what's dying faster, her comedy act or her cardiac system. And it's always the way feminism works, isn't it? It's always a one-way street. A woman can scream and scream at a man in the street and nothing would happen. People would probably even laugh. But the other way around, and it's feminism to the rescue.
Men are not allowed to ask women to smile.
Happiness is forbidden by feminists, didn't you know? If you're not unhappy and being oppressed by something, then you're not a true feminist. There have been anecdotal reports where feminists have had to take breaks from being feminists just to enjoy certain things like music and TV shows.
And I could tell, everything I said shocked him. He was just like,
If I was this journalist, I'd have flipped that table and buggered off a good 5 minutes ago. Actually, maybe not flip the table. There's a good odds it'll bounce off her right back at you.
Okay. And he went,
Well, yeah, you've explained everything extremely poorly. This journalist was probably looking at you in shock at your absolutely ludicrous justification for a system the West doesn't need.
So, if men are not allowed to say anything to women...
Comedy gold right there, fellas. Grab your shovels.
We'll just end up in a world where men don't speak. And I was like, yes! Imagine!
And there it is. The mask has slipped completely. Feminism wants men to shut up and go away because it hates them, plain and simple. It's why some far-left parents are giving their baby boys hormones to try and transition them into females before puberty. They absolutely hate men, despite their completely empty words to the contrary.
That's the dream!
The dream? Huh. Every time I picture your dreams, all I can think about are swimming pools filled with cake.
Oh, I'm so happy. And I think it's funny. I think stuff like this is funny. And you need to laugh at it.
Well, someone has to laugh at it, so it may as well be you. God damn, you could hear a hair hit the floor in that audience.
Because I understand why you'd be an angry feminist. It makes sense.
You understand it because you're an overweight, overrated, angry feminist. Men are repulsed by you, not attracted. So rather than looking within, can I change the way I fit into this society? No, absolutely not. The spoiled child mentality of a feminist couldn't stand for that. The world must change to accommodate my unique wants and wishes.
Because if you've been a feminist for more than like 3 months, you will have repeated the same sentence over and over again. Feminism isn't about hating men. Feminism is not man-hating. Just because you're a feminist, it doesn't mean you hate men.
This actually sums up feminism rather beautifully, saying the same shit over and over again, louder and louder, thinking that wins the debate. Feminism is about man-hating.
You don't have to hate men to become a feminist. Feminism don't hate men. You don't have to hate men to be a feminist. Feminism is not about hating men. And you've said it so many times and they still don't listen.
If I said unicorns were just thin rhinos 500 times, it wouldn't make that true. Claiming feminism isn't about hating men 500 times doesn't make that true either. Besides, need I remind you what you said earlier?
We'll just end up in a world where men don't speak. And I was like, yes! Imagine!
Yeah, we don't forget things like that, hypocrite.
I hate men. I mean, just a little bit. You just hate them a little bit. It's really hard not to. Have you seen them? Ugh, it's so hard not to.
Oh yeah, it's really, really hard not to hate men. I mean, what good possible things are there about men in our lives? When you really, really think about it.
Really hard not to. Have you seen them? Ugh, it's so hard not to. And I know some of you are like, well, not all men. And of course, it's all men. Literally every single one of them. Hate them, hate them, hate them. Someone was like, what about your dad? Especially my dad.
If I used the words I wanted to use to describe her, the YouTube community team would be down on me like flies on shit. So, instead, let's watch her hypocrisy side by side.
Feminism isn't about hating men. Feminism is not man-hating. Just because you're a feminist, it doesn't mean you hate men. And I know some of you are like, well, not all men. And of course, it's all men. Literally every single one of them. Hate them, hate them, hate them.
The only explanation for this woman gaining any wealth or any fame is the sheer natural force of gravity. But perhaps I based her too harshly based on just one video. Maybe if I go to her Twitter page, I'll find out she's a fantastic philanthropist or something. Oh, I see. So, lovely viewers, what is the most ridiculous cause you've seen feminists backing online? I'll leave the answers that make me laugh the most at the end of my next video, and as always, thank you for your time.